What's up, guys? It is the Bad Wolf. We are back in the house, so watch your mouth. We about to get into it. It has been a while, and I'm finally feeling 1,000% better. For those who follow me on my private channels or whatever else, you may have heard me talk about it. Well, I haven't been feeling so well. I had a sinus infection, got run down, had heat stroke. It was a whole big mess, and my body, mind, everything, soul even, are just now starting to recuperate. So we are back on it. And during that time, I finished up the jamesclovett.com website. That has been a success in the private without even really fully advertising it. And so I'm going to do a video, maybe even after this video, full video on that, what's all on there. But that is for the private seminars. These are pay videos, so they're not free like on YouTube. Got to make some money, and YouTube, well, they don't pay like they used to. But hey, what was that, an earthquake? Earthquake. Sorry, too soon. I know there actually has been one. Heartfelt care to those people affected by the earthquakes around the world and whatever else going on. I mean, we are literally on a hot mud ball water planet that is still figuring itself out. So, good God, help us stay safe. Then, of course, all the other man-made problems and threats, and then alien, and then asteroids, and whatever. Y'all ready for this? All right. So let's get into it. This particular video is about the IRS. Now, I made a video in concerns to how to fill out the 15103 for your 2023 tax assessment. Understand, guys, that that video is relevant for years before then. If you've done the revocation of election, and it's for years after that. So 24, 25, if they decide to bother you. All right. So per the IRS, which I haven't looked at to see if it's actually law, it looks like it's just code, but they can actually go back up to 10 years and bother you. Generally, between 3 and 7, they really don't say or do too much because you don't even have access to be able to use a 1040X to be able to go back and change or modify anything. So how are they going to hold you accountable for certain things when they don't seem to have any outward forms to be able to handle such scenarios? And if that's the case, then that's a violation of the law because they're always supposed to provide some type of remedy, something that you can do to change or, accommodate or come with clean hands and fix the problem. So this particular video is going to be personal because, as I always tell you guys, I'm not simply immune because I know this information. So when they did their phishing, okay, they sent out all these people letters who they haven't heard from. Everybody got slightly different letters. Mine said, "Dear 2023 taxpayer." Oh, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! Watch your dirty or mouth. Okay, who are you calling a taxpayer? That's my first rebuttal. Okay. But everybody got that, but it was slightly different. Mine on the bottom said, if you feel that you are tax exempt, please fill out a 15103. But I've probably done about 20 or 30 consultations since making the video, which I made right after getting my personal letter sitting over there. Um, and then I made the video to help out all of you guys so that you guys wouldn't have to do a ton of consultations with me. So once again, I always keep it real. There's no reason to lie here. We ain't afraid of you. My name is Iron Man, and I'm not afraid of you. So I got my response from them. So let's go over it. Like I said, I don't hide anything from you guys. I don't need to. Not afraid of them. It's understanding that this is business. They're trying to contract. They want to see who's going to respond to their phishing letter and then deal with you. So we did. Fill out the 15103. We did all that properly. If you haven't seen that video, go and watch that video. If I remember, I'll try to have it pop up at the end in one of the little links. Okay. So it says here, all right. All right. Basic letter, IRS. All right. So just hide my address because I already have enough people showing up asking me questions and trying to be in my video, so that's a little weird. But it says taxpayer identification number. Okay. So for me, I would not only be arguing or crossing out taxpayer, because that's an assumption, and they're saying this is your tax identification number. The social security number is not a tax, it's not a taxpayer identification number from its creation. When you use your social, that is an election for your social security number and benefits. That's a benefit number, not a tax number. And you're electing for them to regard it. Remember, everything dirty is going to start with an RE. So regard, register, resident. Okay. So they're making an assumption because I have not rebutted that. So okay, well, I'll play your little game. So here's how it goes. So then they have my social, which I do have a full full Monty, yeah, baby, video on jameslovett.com where it talks about IRS, how to deal with the IRS, all the little secrets. It's a whole long video of why 99% of everybody who watches this video are not taxpayers. So if you want that secret video, go to my jameslovett.com and watch that private video because they seem to not like it when I put some of this information on the public side. And well, with good reason, because remember, even youtube.com, well, the .com is commercial. Commercial is public and they regulate everything to public. So that's all they're doing is they're regulating what's theirs. So we have to go private, which is why I made those private seminars and we will have private conferences coming up. Not for agents, not for anybody, only private citizens. And so you must agree that you are a private citizen and not in any official capacity to either watch my videos or to join the seminars. Seminars will be relatively cheap and we'll have a number of different living individuals, not actors, who have different services that they use to help private people. Now, I take no responsibility for the information that you guys will be seeing in those particular videos whatsoever, but I will do my best to try to vet people. So, if you have services that you guys provide and you possibly want to be in a speaker in there where you get to showcase your products, if it's related to what we already do here, then you can contact me and I will take it under consideration to possibly put you in the rotation. All right, because we will probably do it twice a month, depending on how many people we have. And we already have a list of people. So don't be mad at me if you guys don't get in, or I'm just like, yeah, it's not a good fit, or whatever else. I got tons of stuff going on, and I can't possibly get to everybody at once. All right. But I will do my best to try to get to you guys. So let's get back to the letter. Okay. Dear taxpayer, thank you for your correspondence on July 9th, 2025. We're sending your letter to our office at the address shown at the end of this letter because they are responsible for collecting the amount you owe on your account. Now, first of all, I would be rebutting that because first of all, or second or third of all, that's an alleged amount, and you said amount, but there's nothing on the document you sent me to state how much. You're fishing. You believe I generated income and that it was taxable. That's an allegement. You're alleging. On your account. Oh, so it's my account. All right, well, then leave my account alone. That office will contact you within the next 60 days. Find tax forms or publications by visiting irs.gov. If you have questions, you can contact the office where we transferred your case by calling them at this number between these hours. If you prefer, you can write to that office at the address we provide in this letter. When you write, include a copy of this letter and write your telephone number and hours we can reach you. Wouldn't it be they can reach you because you're a different office? Keep a copy of this letter for your records. Thank you for your cooperation. And I got my address on some stuff, blah, blah, blah. Now, before I get to the best part, the coup d'etat, as they say, when I look at the sincerely yours, and it's not sincerely, okay, you're not being sincere and you're not mine. Otherwise, I'd tell you where to go. It says, Miss Castillo. Hey, chica, Castillo, let me tell you something, okay? I got something for you. She is the program manager of collections operations in Austin, Texas. Probably cute, but probably a Bitch, because she works for the IRS. All right. So she is the manager. She's the program manager. Not even like a regular. She's top dog. Here's my interpretation. If you send me a form and you don't have a bill on it, that's open-ended billing, which is against the law. You cannot bill me, say I owe a certain amount and there's no amount on here, but I'm supposed to just give you my stuff and pay. The burden of proof is on you, first of all, but I've already begun to rebut their claims. Now, a lot of people didn't respond to them at all, which is a tactic because they're fishing. They want to see who's going to step into the light. I'm not afraid to step into the light because I'm already there. Now, from here, I could ask them for a validation of the debt. You haven't provided anything for me to rebut other than I'm telling you I didn't generate any income, which is true. I break all of this down in the IRS video on jameslovett.com. All right. All the stuff they don't want you to know. If I don't seem worried, there's a reason for that. So here's the next part. So the address is in Utah. So not only do they transfer it from my regional via the manager, uh, but they transferred it to Utah. Now, the thing about the Utah address here is they have attention. Just wait. There's more. L'chaim. Frivolous return program. Now, you can take this many different ways. You can be nervous. You can be scared. Oh man, Wolf, they're saying that what's your return and your method is frivolous, and that they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that. Blah 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 blah. They haven't given me a financial amount because they don't really have one. They know that I generated some compensation and they want to see if they can shake the tree with hundreds of thousands of other people and see if you buckle or if you stand like an American on facts and business. What I sent them was so credible that the manager at that location signed off on it. Her signature's on there. It was in front of her. Could not, who has the ability to say, yeah, I'm just going to ignore this and go after you and pull money, take me to court, et cetera, et cetera. She didn't want no part of that. She said, well, I know because I've read their manual that when they're faced with information, especially their own codes, and they don't have the authority to, well, just say, cancel and ignore that I may have a possible or alleged debt, but they have to have their legal department, another department of people who are qualified. See, they compartmentalize the information. So she's seen what I had. She knew that I was correct, at least with the code I put in there under tax avoidance. but she didn't have the authority to make a final determination. So feels pretty good to know when the IRS can't collect on something, especially when you've done everything right, including giving them a revocation of election years ago. But they got to try. They're like the thirsty guy at bar close that some of you guys have been and some of you guys have turned down and some of you guys have laughed at. They have to try. If your name is in their system, they absolutely have a right to try to collect from you. But if they do too much, it's harassment. So she sent it, looking at the information. She understood it, not overstood. She understood it enough that my authority in this matter and what I put was valid. But she doesn't have the huevos, the gonads, the power to go, well, we'll just close this and leave you alone. I don't want it on me. So she sent it to their program. Now, their program that's called the Frivolous Return Program is really a gang of IRS experts who are compartmentalized to be able to interpret the information that I put on the 15103. If it truly was frivolous and there was nothing to it, she would have been like, yeah, okay, you're stupid. Pay this money or we're going to take all your stuff. Even though we know how to deal with that too. And we know what they're supposed to have in place before they even do that. And then there's some other things that we could do before that as well. That's covered in my private video. So, shameless plug. So here's the thing. That means by my overstanding and logic that that collection department is done. This last one is the last line in the sand that they can go to really try to do anything. So they do have the ability to say this is frivolous if they want to, but I've given them enough information that they're going to have to rebut it and they're not going to be able to rebut it. The only things they could do is if they find somebody I've done business with or an employer of mine in that particular year. And then I would have had to have checked off that I'm working for you as a U.S. citizen, and they will not be able to find that. Not for me, not for my employer, because that employer that would have been around at that point in time was still yet me. And I drew no money as a check to myself. So I generated no income. My company at the time, now, if they had my company on there, which is already paid off because they came after me for that, and I paid that, they would have been accurate because I didn't have that particular company at that particular time tax exempt and domestic or foreign with my 98. This being the case, all they can do is see because of the laws that have been passed, like the Patriot Act and whatever else, which are violations of your rights. But are they? Not actually, because your bank account, just like mine right now, which I'm working to change, should be a trust account. So, as a U.S. citizen per my bank, they can see that there's money in there. But they can't find any way that I've worked for it. So, how did I get the money? Because it went through my pass throughs, my nation, my tax exempt trust, my whatever else, and then it was deposited there for my use. That's gifted money. They can't touch it. They can see it, can't touch it. Came from a tax exempt entity, the private. They can't tax it. That's not income. That's compensation for labor. So per the federal court and the Constitution, it's not taxable. And then there's some other things in there as well that make it not seen and not touchable by them. So the frivolous department are a team of experts that are trained in the law and the codes intrinsically on what makes sense and what's right. So basically, she was like, "Look, I'm signing off on this. I don't fully understand it. He's talking, it sounds about right, but I do not want to sign off on this. It's above my pay grade." So I went to them. So what I'm telling you guys is if you guys get a frivolous uh, program letter, do not be afraid of it. This is what the process is. So that also then means that these people specialize in all of the things that we've been talking about, the law. Now, let's say that they do get back to me and they say, "Oh, we got your other stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we believe and we're going to do this." Well, then I'm going to tell them I want them to transfer it to an appeals department or the board above them for a final review. And if I have to, I'll sue them in federal court because they're open-ended billing me and they don't even have a bill on there. Sending a blank statement and saying, "We believe that you made money." I can make money in the private and not have to have it taxed because per IRS code 25.1.1.3.3 of the Internal Revenue Manual, the IRM, it says, and I quote, "A U.S. citizen," which is horrible to call me, but we'll play your game, "a U.S. citizen has the ability to reduce, minimize, or eliminate their tax obligations per and by merit of the law, as long as they pre-plan the event and do it within the merit of the law." Your words, not mine. And if you deny me of what your statutes, which aren't law, says, then I will sue you for 1% of your gross income in the federal court. Because the Constitution says that all taxes are optional unless you are a member of theirs and you agree. The only people this doesn't apply for are U.S. citizens. And who's a true U.S. citizen? Police officer, postal worker, clerk, CDL, those people who are in the public. But there's a secret to that too. And thank you to the cops who've reached out to me, who've asked for help with their tax scenarios. Guess the bad wolf isn't so much against cops now, is he? Huh. Especially seeing how my former next door neighbor was one and family are one. And my phone's got numbers of cops who are friends. And well, you get the idea. So understand this. If and when they send you the IRS 2023, 2000, 2001, 2, 5, 4, 5, 6 pickup sticks, whatever it is, it's okay that it's going to the frivolous department because they have to then make a legal determination. And should they respond back to me in some type of negative way, well, then I'm going to educate them on how I properly redeemed that compensation and use my revocation of election documents that you guys get from me as well. And we'll see how that plays out mano a mano or else in federal court. They may call it the frivolous department program, but it's really the legal department. She transferred it from out of the IRS general collections. These people don't play and they don't really, well, they do make mistakes. So let me not say that. They don't play and they know their business. So I find it funny that she said basically without saying anything, our department can't collect on you, but the debt is not nullified at this point in time. We're going to throw our experts at what you've sent. So that's it, guys. And I will update you when that happens and we'll go from there. So we've got 30 more days and we'll have that video for you. Now, remember, this is not for people just not paying their taxes. You cannot do that. This is not for people who do tax evasion. It's not for that. But depending on your scenario, we may or may not have, within the merit of the law, the ability here at Badwolf, and Badwolf to help you out with your scenario under the premise of private consultation and theory of how to deal with your taxes. Got to call it that because, if you're preaching it as fact, then you need to be licensed. So, person to person, we may have some information for you on how to help you guys. All right. We've done a lot of help for people who are living in their cars with tax problems to multimillionaires, multiple businesses. So that's what it is. I'll talk to you guys later. Stay safe and pay your taxes if you're supposed to. If not, keep operating as that domestic tax exempt entity and life will be good. Talk to you guys later. Badwolf's out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that bell, like, and subscribe. And if this is your first time here, well, even if you're just here, welcome to the tribe. I'll talk to you guys later.